Hello, welcome to Tuesday Tune-Up. My name is Eliza, and each week I guide you through a collective tarot reading and offer a little space of contemplation and meditation and connection. So this week, December 8th, I wanted to talk a little bit about the energy going on this month as we move toward the solstice, and also towards what's being called the Great Conjunction, and chat with you guys a little bit about the upcoming energy of 2021. And we'll pull some cards and maybe do a little reiki, some visualization, and generally just send you a big dose of love. So just to get started, I just have to get the phone set up here. My iPad wasn't working today, so trying something a little bit different, getting cozy with you guys by the fire. Hi, Angela. And I'll begin just kind of, sharing. It's perfect that Angela just showed up. Hopefully you guys can still hear me, actually, because the mic is down there. Hi, I have to apologize. I'm on my phone instead of my iPad, and I hope that it doesn't run out of battery, but we'll see how it goes. But my friend Angela here, she has the Instagram angela.of.earth. She did this amazing guided channeling session for a group of us on Sunday, and she allows her ancestral guides to come through, and they really talked about some of the energy for the upcoming solstice, which I was going to mention a bit today. And I've been doing some research myself on this great conjunction that's coming up, that happens to align perfectly with the solstice, which is on December 21st. And so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that, just to kind of like set the scene for what we're going to be moving through astrologically in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, this great conjunction is so interesting to me. So these planets of Saturn, and Jupiter will be conjunct, which means that they're going to be within like 0.8 degrees of each other in an alignment. And typically they have really opposing energies. Like Saturn is all about structure and containers and sort of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Contracting energy, whereas Jupiter is more like an expansive energy, and it's about abundance and growth. So when these two sort of opposing energies align, which I guess hasn't happened since like 2000, it happens about every 20 years, there's often like sort of a neutral tone that allows for simultaneously a crumbling of an old system and the arrival of a new system. And what came through in this really amazing channeled guidance from Angela's ancestral guides for us was really about tapping into our expanded selves, the self that is beyond the sort of mind and the small part of us that thinks that it is in charge, but we kind of know when we tap into altered states or meditation or dreams that there's so much more to us than we can understand. And when we connect to spirit in that way, we can be guided and co-create in such an easeful, beautiful way. And the energy that's coming up at this solstice, I guess that there's going to be some intense like solar action, like solar flares and things, but we will be sort of protected from that and also able to like shift more and more into this expanded version of ourselves. So that's been really interesting to me. And this conjunction is happening in the sign of Aquarius, and that is an air element. So the themes we're moving into will be resilience and liberation and really replacing of the toxic systems. And I feel that so deeply in my own life. I had an amazing conversation today with my cousin, who's exactly 13 years younger than me. We have the same birthday, April 9th, and 13 years apart. And she called me up today, or reached out the other day, because she was interested in Reiki, and she's starting to get more interested in all kinds of like spirituality and wellness. And we were chatting today, and she mentioned that she has a pain in her right hip, which feels like her right ovary, and it sort of wraps around her hip. And I just looked at her sort of dumbfounded, because I carry the exact same pain in my body, and so many women who come to me who are looking for energy work hold this pain also in this like right hip. And what I've sort of felt into when I energetically feel into it, either in my own body or in many of my clients, has been this, that we are literally carrying this toxic masculinity within our own bodies in order to heal it. And I feel like that's part of our like ancestral karma that she and I are working on right now. And it was like simultaneously like, holy cow, I can't believe that. And then like, of course, this is exactly what's happening. So I'm feeling, I am feeling this sense of like, really, it is time for us to begin building the new system. This whole year has been so much about the crumbling of the old and really sitting with what is in order to gain a larger perspective of what we truly want and truly need. And then next year, well, this year was an emperor year in tarot, so it's this was a 4-year, 2020. So if you add that up, that equals 4, and that would be the emperor. So this year has kind of been like a clearing out of the container, a clearing out of the toxic masculinity, and a real sitting with like, what are the systems in our life and the containers that are holding this system and our structure in place, and are they really serving us? So a lot of this year has been kind of looking at that energy, and we're moving into a Hierophant year, which would be a 5. So 2021 would be a 5 in tarot. And Hierophant is all about authority and power, and sort of the relationship between like a teacher and student. And I think so much of it is going to be a crumbling as well of the idea that like anyone else, even a teacher, has more authority than we do. We're really coming into our own power and learning that we're all human. We all have limited perspective. We can all learn so much from each other, and we can all also teach each other in what we have. So I feel really called this upcoming year to really support women entrepreneurs specifically into their power. Like, it's time to share our gifts. This is the time that we have been waiting for, and it's been such a deep pleasure this year already that I've been able to create branding and websites for 2 amazing women. My friend Aya Joy, who created Dragon Body, which is this embodied sort of midwifery ascension coaching that she does. And then another dear friend, Mary Moon Hermans, who just yesterday released her brand new website, and she's doing an herbal CSA, sort of like a quarterly apothecary, creating all these amazing herbal products and salves and seasonal care packages that she's going to send to people. So I'm really, really loving this, and I'm feeling like I'll just share this call once again. If there's someone out there who's interested in creating a business or a brand that has been like deep within their hearts, something that they really want to, embody within themselves, and just step into in like a really easeful, natural way with some accountability, I would love to assist in that. And Maya is saying, these links, they sound awesome. Thank you. I think you're referring to the Dancing in the Dark that I'm hosting. It's been 1 week now since we started, and I've been leading a group of over 150 people. I don't know if everyone is actually dancing daily, but I've been dancing I danced at least 4 or 5 times this week, and I have to say it's made a literal world of difference. I don't know if you guys can see it in me or feel it, but there's been sort of a lessening of anxiety and pressure and sort of like a heavy fog that tends to come over me this time of the year. Add these links. Yes, I will totally. I will add the links. I will share those with you. Absolutely. Yes, I will share those on the comments on this video once I'm done. But while I'm on this tangent, I'll finish as well. That it's just been such a joy to be moving every day. And for someone who's dealt with depression and anxiety and sort of pain in my body for such a long time, I literally feel that it's shifting as I begin to really move in this freeing way that isn't a workout, that isn't to fix my body or force anything. That's just a practice of being present and joyful with what is, has really been changing my attitude and my energy. And it's also giving me great purpose just to be able to share music with 150 people every day. I get really excited about what I can send out. So if you're interested in joining that, just sign right up on my website, resolve2evolve.me, and there's a link for, you'll click sign up for Dancing in the Dark, and I'll be adding you to the emails and the Facebook group if you want to do that as well. Yeah, so that's just the brief intro and overview. I'd love to hear how you guys are doing this week. Oh my gosh, my battery is dying. I'm at like 10%, so I'm gonna have to plug it in over here. So feel free to, just pop in the comments, like what's going on with you this week. I'm gonna try to find a charger in here real quick. Getting nice and cozy. We got our little Christmas tree up in the corner here. Got the fireplace roasting. I'm just getting toasty today. It's been quite nice. All right. I might have to sit over here, but we can make this work. Can you guys still see me if I flip? Probably not. I'll probably be upside down. Please figure this out. And I apologize. My iPad was all charged up, but then the iPad wasn't working. It's just one of them days. And that's okay. Yay. Oh! I'm finagling something quite precarious over here. Oh, Kate says she's feeling very upbeat and happy. That's awesome. On the ground, that actually might be better. Or I'll just keep holding it in my hand, I guess. And Maya says, I need some healing vibes. Had a surgery on Thursday. Oh, wow. Absolutely. We will definitely send you some healing vibes. And Michelle says, starting to get in the holiday spirit, feeling good about wrapping this year up. That's awesome. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a year. But I have to say, I saw this really cool cartoon drawing that this woman did. And it was like a girl who's in a whirlwind of a storm, and she said something like, the winds of change, the currents of change. I'm grateful for all the winds of change because it has rooted me deeper into my core, into the center of who I am, which can't be touched. And I feel like, if anything, this year has definitely done that for us. So Let's see if I can get this to stay here. Hi, Kiki. I guess I'll just bring this stuff over to me. We'll do it here, because I'm going to flip the thing around soon enough anyways. All right, so let's go ahead and just drop into all this energy. I feel bad I can't figure out how to get this thing to stay. I'll just put it like there for right now. Yeah, let's just go ahead and close our eyes and we'll connect our energy and we'll set some intentions for our card pull and take a moment to send ourselves some energy and light and some healing energy, especially to Maya through this healing process after her surgery. So go ahead and just settle in, take a couple nice deep breaths. Feeling gratitude for your body, feeling gratitude for this sweet little community, feeling gratitude for being somewhere safe and warm, where we are able to connect to one another in an otherwise dark time of the year. Let us be the sparks of light, of love, of hope, and of energy for all those who are needing it tonight. And so I just invoke the healing energy of Gaia. We call on our support teams individually and collectively to be present with us in this tarot reading, to uplift our hearts, to offer guidance and truth and words that will reach beyond just the ears, that will reach the hearts of those who are needing it, kindling their fires inside so that they may be ripples of light, spreading this healing love out into the world. And just a special prayer and request for Maya for deep healing during this time. May she experience rest and rejuvenation and whatever it is that she is needing right now. We ask this for Maya's highest good and the highest good of all, and just send her a big blast of love. And I'll just ask that my words be guided and that I can be clear and get out of the way, drop the ego, and let what wants to come through come through. And we ask this for the highest good of each of us and the highest good of all. All right, loves. So I'm just going to grab a tiny bit of sage and light the candle here. Felt good to drop in with you guys. I could feel you and I feel more calm, and I just feel so grateful to have something fun to do, like with community in our respective safe homes where we can still connect and have fun together. So deeply grateful for you guys being here tonight. Oh yeah, and I wanted to share, last week's reading was so interesting, and I've been reflecting on it this week. We had so many reversals in terms of knights and kings and all these like masculine leadership type cards. And after reflecting on it a bit, I was thinking about like how the idea of leadership is really changing right now. That we don't have to try as much. Like this whole idea of, you know, masculinity shifting and, you know, having so much inward time to be with ourselves. It feels like that's the new form of leadership. It feels like it's doing the internal work and really embodying these truths that we know on some level. You know, we know we should be meditating. We know we should be
moving our bodies. We know we should be like eating well. We know we should be connecting. But it just feels like it's time to surrender the trying and just allow the truth of who we are to just shine through, and let that be enough, and let there be ease in letting our bodies guide us instead of some other outside leadership, or even a leadership within our own minds. Really allowing the feminine to lead in her receptive way. And I feel that coming through really strongly for me lately. For most of my life, I've been feeling like I knew a part of me was meant to lead in some way and to teach and to share. But every time that I've tried to like put a program out, or I got like, I don't know, almost felt like I needed to push it and like make it happen, it always kind of like bounced back. And when I wouldn't really try and I just allowed things to unfold, they seemed to happen in a more meaningful and organic and purposeful way. And I feel like at this time, like last week, that was kind of some of the message that was coming through for us. And then we were moving into a world energy, which was a sense of completion, a sense of, as we learn these lessons, we are completing certain cycles, and then we can begin new cycles. So with that in mind, I wanted to just offer that into this space before we pull cards for this week, just to see what else wants to come through. Because I think it's important to like check back in with that. We get so much information, and then it's like, oh, did we reflect on it after, after the week has occurred? So I'm curious how that's landing with you guys, and feel free to, of course, like message if you have any thoughts or stories about what came up for you this week. Would love to hear it. And in the meantime, I will pull our cards. Interesting. All right, I'm gonna flip this around so you guys can see. All right, so our anchor card is the 5 of Cups. Let me see if I can get that to focus there. Oops, maybe if I move this chair out of the way, we'll get some more light. So it feels like there's a sense of looking for the silver lining, which I feel like most of this year has been that way. There's definitely been loss and change and emotional upheaval. And yet behind us, we have a couple cups that are filled that are still here for us. And there's still an opportunity for us to savor and enjoy and drink of what we have, if only we are willing to look for it. So I feel like the essence of what is arriving today is really being willing to see beyond what is just in front of us, and to trust and know that there is so much more available to us if only we are willing to look for it. And crossing that situation is the next card after that, which is the 6 of Cups. Babe, you can come upstairs. I'm just doing the reading down here. My iPad wasn't working upstairs, so it's all good. Yeah, it's cool. But you can do your thing. Just wanted to let you know. Okay. And then the 6 of Cups is crossing this. And it feels like deep connection with the inner parts of ourselves and or with another. is going to be a really powerful activating factor this week to assist us in seeing this silver lining. So this could be sitting in deep meditation with yourself and getting to know your body in a deeper way, like really listening to what is present underneath some of the pain or the sensations or the tightness in your chest or the ache in your back. What is really in there? So I feel like we're invited to look into that and or to be present with another in that way this week. And Kiki, I'm thinking of you because we still have to do this together. But I feel like as we are dropping into this deeper part of ourself, it can be so healing to have someone externally to talk it out with and to acknowledge this deep healing that we are all journeying through right now, no matter where we are in the world or what time of the year it is. It's been a deep processing time, and so sitting down with all the feelings and having a place to process it, to process some of those memories, whether it's with a therapist or a journal or a friend or just with spirit deep in meditation, being really gentle with what is and taking some time to assess that, I think will be really beautifully healing for us this week. In our recent past, we have the Four of Wands, which is kind of like a celebratory energy. And this is reminding me of us all dancing this week. For those of you who have been doing it with me, it's really been a treat to tap into this energy. I always think this card always makes me think of Captain Planet. Like, when our powers combine, we really can make a difference. And even though we're dancing alone, it's sort of giving us like an energetic break, because each spark that we have combined is really activating our dance. Even though we're alone, we're able to like go a little deeper and think about each other and to know that we're not alone. So for those who even aren't dancing, of course, this could have been in the last week that maybe you've just had some moments with community and that you've had an opportunity to really kind of reignite your fire or celebrate a little bit or kind of have a little bit of a break from processing everything and just having some joy. And that seems to kind of be what's coming through in some of the messages. You know, people are getting into the holiday spirit and taking some time to celebrate. So that's beautiful. You know, it's so healthy for us to have those times and to allow that, because we don't need to be like in stress all the time. You know, our culture tells us that we do, but it's definitely not healthy for us. Yeah, collective joy. I love that. And underneath, oh my gosh, my phone like won't reach here. Let's see if the energy or the power lasts this long. Underneath our situation is the King of Wands. So this is, for me, it feels like this leadership by spreading our joy. He was in reverse for us last week, and we were being asked to look at this leadership from a new perspective, what it really means to be in leadership. And I always thought of the kings as like outward energy and like masculine. And right now I'm finding that it is that, but it has to come first with the internal leading by example, really walking your talk, really owning who you are and what is true to you. Because if it doesn't come from that authentic place, then you really won't be able to make an impact. So I'm feeling that he is grounding us as we are moving through this, you know, focusing on the silver lining and processing some of these deep-seated emotions. And crowning our energy this week is the Queen of Coins, which is so perfect because she's all about this feminine embodiment, really being in our bodies, really feeling our way through and enjoying the sensual pleasures of life. I have to plug back in here. Let's see. So she is crowning the situation, reminding us that while a lot of us haven't been in our bodies because of traumas or anxieties or just a habit of being in our minds, the way to resolve these deep memories and traumas and emotions is finding our way through our physical bodies and finding pleasure in the sensual experiences of life, the smells of the cold air, the fogging up of your breath, the way that the ice is sparkling. Can we find beauty in the things around us, just like we would when we were a child, before we were told that snow has to be a drag and, we can't enjoy it because we're adults and we have to drive now, or it's too cold, or, all these things that we tell ourselves. Can we find the childlike awe and joy and pleasure in the little things again? And moving forward, we are coming into another king energy, and here we have the King of Swords. So he is our potential outcome for the external energy here. And King of Swords is, swords are really kind of boundaries and being a leader in the mental realm, in the thought realm, is like, how are you showing up within your own mind? Are you, and it brings up that silver lining thing again. It's like, are you complaining and dwelling on the stresses and worrying and kind of overthinking things a lot? Or can you step into leadership by really deciding how you want to view the world and looking at things and thinking of things in a new way? And I feel like just the silver lining thing keeps just coming through so strongly for me. So I'm going to leave that there for now, and I'll probably come back to that king in a little bit when we're looking at our potential outcome for the internal sort of realm over here. I feel this is so funny. I can't really move my phone because it's plugged in, and so I just have to keep sliding the cards. All right, so we are seeing ourselves grieving. We're seeing ourselves in the Three of Swords. We are processing some deep pain, and this could be ancestral pain, that deep things that we were born with that we're not even sure where it's coming from. Really old heartaches that maybe we have embodied and have been carrying with us for a long time. The grieving could be subtle and maybe not the way that you would imagine grieving, but these old pains are coming to the surface to be resolved and healed, and that message has been coming through so strongly for me for the last couple months. Deep shame and guilt coming up to be released, and in order to release things, sometimes we need to kind of have those moments of going into those deep memories and those just reassessing those old patterns that once served us. They once had a purpose. They once helped us to survive. And, if not us, they once helped our ancestors to survive and to cope with what was. And now it might hurt a little bit to look at, wow, I guess I don't need to be carrying this anymore. And sometimes we look at, wow, this thing that once helped me is now hurting me, and I need to let it go. And pulling out that thorn can be painful. It can sting. But once the thorn is out, then the healing can really begin. So, I say just grip it and rip it. Just like, let it go. Get it out of there. Let it go. Let the grieving begin so that your heart can be free and work to its fullest capacity instead of being stuck and burdened. And others are seeing us as the Ten of Wands. And this is when we have so many things that we are passionate about that we begin to sort of carry them on our shoulders, and sometimes they can actually weigh us down. However, I love the art in this card. Instead of in many other decks, the Ten of Wands is this fellow who's carrying a whole bundle of these wands over his shoulder, and they've become really heavy. However, this guy has turned it into this really cool mechanism and wheel that he's sort of allowed them to work together. And I'm seeing the silver lining in this card for sure right now, because I see that he's actually found a way to bring all the things that he's passionate about together, and they have a central focus and a central hub, and he's made it so that the one supports the other. So for those of you who are like me, who are like multi-passionate and kind of doing all sorts of different things simultaneously, rather than feeling scattered and burdened by those things, how can we make them work together for us? And like I mentioned earlier, I am helping women who are branding their businesses and creating websites so that they can have sort of this umbrella overarching system that within it they can have these different separate spokes that can work. They can have all the things that they're passionate about, the art and the business and the dancing and the creative self and the comedy or whatever, having all those things have a central piece. And so others are seeing that we're finding ways to make all these passionate things kind of come together. And maybe a part of us hasn't been able to see that. So I just invite you guys to take a look at that. And maybe even notice if there are some spokes on your wheel that aren't working. A Ten of Wands is often looking at the harvest, looking at what do I now want to take with me. I've kind of completed this cycle with the wands and I'm ready to move on from here. So what pieces do I want to take with me, and what pieces am I ready to let go? Our hopes and fears card, we have the Page of Swords, and I love this guy. He's he or she, I guess, is all this like wildly brilliant sort of childlike imagination, the part of ourselves that can sort of come up with quick and fast solutions to things that maybe have been big problems for others for a long time. And it makes me think about, as we're creating these new systems and we are stepping into the dust of the crumbling system around us, I feel like as we become these Page of Wands, we're like, oh, well, what if the system could look like this, and everyone could have access to healthy food and water, and the areas where there's excess, we could share what we have. It's like such simple, obvious things, but it's also like the brilliant eyes of this innocent, fresh perspective are bringing to light new ideas and ways of being that maybe they're so simple, but they're so brilliant. So we're invited to really look at, in our own lives and in the collective, what new possibilities and new ways of seeing that can create like the most effective. It's like working smart, not hard. What can create the biggest changes for the littlest impact? How can we work with spirit and with all the tools accessible to us and all the collective money, the collective energy? How can we solve problems from that perspective versus trying to figure it all out with the old paradigm at play? So it's really scrapping like some of the old ways and looking with this fresh, youthful perspective and coming up with some brilliant solutions. And the fear in that, I think a lot of people are scared of doing that because they don't want to sound dumb. Sometimes it's the most obvious things, like calling out your teacher, like, well, instead of doing 2 + 2 + 4 - 8 + 6, couldn't we just say that it's, number 4 or something like that? I don't know if that actually adds up to that, but in my mind it did. So, but instead of like having all this complex numbers, can't we just put it together and find what the essence of it is and go from there? If that makes sense to you guys, hopefully it does. But yeah, a lot of people are afraid of even, saying, what about this? Like, it's so obvious sometimes that no one says it. So I invite you guys to speak to those things in your own life or in the world around you this week. And our potential outcome in the sort of external view of things is the 6 of Wands. 6 of Swords. And it's interesting, we had the 6 of Cups was crossing us earlier. Sixes are kind of like this moment of connection with others, like getting a sense of support with others. And this one feels like, this whole idea of the silver lining. It's like having, whether it's a part of ourselves or a conversation with another, leaving some of these old ways of thinking behind and literally guiding a part of us with active presence and active paying attention. We're moving from these sort of toxic, painful, sharp ways of thinking and moving to more of a peaceful oasis or paradise or new place where we can, if we're in an island in our thoughts, like if there's like a sea of swirling craziness all around us, we're kind of finding this peaceful place where we can be at peace with ourselves and know that we are enough. And instead of trying to like figure out how to play in this game that's toxic and isn't really serving us, how can we find peace first within ourselves and allow there to be a potential silver lining, in all that was in these old ways that once existed, and allow them to kind of catapult us forward in this new paradigm that we're creating and this new reality and this new life that we're creating. And for me, I'm thinking about, some of the privileges that we've had and that, have actually hurt us because we're missing out on all those who are weighed down by the burdens of an unbalanced society and sort of not being able to share their truth and their voices because they're living in a constant struggle. As we walk away from that, not only are we finding refuge for ourselves, but we're creating places of safety and sanctuary for others by setting that example. And we're making a difference by moving away from something that once harmed us. And we're learning, wow, I can make a difference by taking action. And then we can circle back around and maybe help others to step away from that. And maybe we come back with a bigger boat that we can build on the island. And maybe, I don't know, there's all kinds of ways we can make change. So I feel like this week is really asking us to look with fresh eyes, and a lot of that being, with our celebratory, embodied passions and support of each other, moving into, it's all about how we're thinking about things this week. So really, really, really giving ourselves the opportunity to look at the silver lining, no matter what situation we're in, not to romanticize anything, because I know how challenging life can be, but even the things that bring us to our knees and that feel like they are tormenting us, they have a purpose and a reason. And if it's harming us, it's teaching us not to continue doing that. And I think it's time for us to all find new ways to move forward and to find peace and find new ways to make the things that we are passionate about work, and to allow the grieving process to guide us, So I invite you guys to think about those out-of-the-box solutions with the Page of Swords, and to be as positive as you can without really dismissing or overlooking things. We don't want to ignore some of the problems and the issues that have arrived or that have arisen, but rather to really look deeper into them and find the solutions within the problem, because they're there. It's kind of like a twisted puzzle. So how is that landing with you guys? Struggling today with the technology. I think we probably have enough power now to unplug. Let's see. And I would love to, let me just see what time it is. Would love to pull some cards. Yeah, it's 8:50. Wow, I've been blabbing on today, guys. I'm really going at it. Usually I'm done by like 8:30. Oh, good, Michelle. I'm glad it's reaching you. I'm going to come back over by this cozy, tozy fire. And I've got some decent battery now, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. And I just want to send gratitude. I'm going to kind of close that circle for a second. Just send gratitude to the messages that came through. I never know what's going to come through, and I always just open up to the little stories that pop into my mind. And the silver lining thing was very strong today. And I don't know where I got cut off there, but my phone is at 20% battery again. But I was trying to say, this year has been so challenging for so many of us, and yet being the eternal optimist that I am, I truly feel that our world needed this sacred pause, and that each of us has been given this this challenging time as a gift to really assess what our priorities are in life. And obviously my heart is grieving for all those who are suffering and dying because of this crazy situation, but I am grateful for this pause. Our society, I think, really needed this, and I hope that we all can benefit from it in time. I do believe that it's been a gift on some level. So with that, would anyone like a card pulled for themselves today? I'd be happy to do some individual pulls and send some messages. I hope my phone doesn't die this time, Rebecca. Let's hope not. All right, so we'll pull in for Rebecca first, and then Michelle and Kate, and then Kiki. Cool. Thank you all for being here. You make my Tuesdays so bright and happy, and I love you. Okay, so pulling a card for Rebecca for her highest good and the highest good of all. You got Six of Swords, and it was Six of Swords reversed. So this one, didn't that happen last time? You got like the same card that was in our final one? I don't remember, but, so you heard me kind of talking about this one, but, if there is an area that you need support, often the sixes are guiding us to get support in, or to give support to someone, and in the case of the swords, it's really about how we're thinking about things. So this could be like a therapist, or having someone to talk to, or, you know, making that change, taking an action to move away from something that is not supporting us to a place where we can have, you know, this sort of sacred pause and have a space for sanctuary for a time. So if there's some way that you're in resistance to taking that time for yourself, I would just be open to sitting with that and what it might be for you. Okay, Michelle. Pulling a card for Michelle for her highest good and the highest good of all. You got the Four of Swords reversed. So we're all definitely being called into like resting the mind. The four, as I mentioned last week, and I love this description, can be related to the four legs of a table, and how we take refuge, like a child or a small animal, typically like a dog or a cat. You would find them like going under the table to sort of like take a break from the energy of a party or like a big room, so that they can like recalibrate their systems and check in with what they need, almost like a little nap or a little break from something. And in the swords, it's how we're thinking about things again. So if there's some area that you've been like pushing or trying to figure things out, or feel like you need to know what the answer is, this is telling you to take a break. And it's telling you that you're in resistance maybe to taking a break, but that you're going to be cared for. You don't need to figure it out right now. And having that time for yourself will help you to get the clarity that you need, but you have to let go about it in a different way. So I invite you into that sacred pause and resting. Do something different, have, you know, kind of just like switch up the patterns of how you're thinking about it, and that's when you find the solutions. That's when you'll find the clarity that you're looking for. Okay, Kate. Hope that resonates with you, Michelle. Pulling a card for Kate for her highest good and the highest good of all. Got the King of Cups. And I always think of him as like being centered in the swirl of the chaos of the ocean all around him. The water is moving and the emotions are flowing, but he's finding this this peace and this centeredness within what can be like a wild whirlwind. Obviously, the external world right now is in such chaos, and so many people are getting attached to it and suffering and freaking out. And so I think you're being really called into a type of leadership just by being centered, just by being in your trust, by being
in your emotions, by being present, by doing that for yourself, you are truly sharing a gift with the rest of the collective, whether or not they see you doing that or they just feel it. You know, even if we're alone in our rooms for the next 6 months, we're still energetically, if we are able to bring that sense of calm and peace and trust within ourselves, we're rippling that out to everyone else around us. So please continue doing that, and thank you for doing that, Kate. And Kiki, pull one for you as well. I know you're doing it, Kate. I already know that about you. Pulling a card for Kiki for her highest good and the highest good of all. And you got the King of Wands. These kings just keep popping up for us. So there's something that you're passionate about that really brings you great joy, that makes you feel alive, and you're being asked to bring that to the external world. And I know for you, like, this could be creating jewelry or hooping or, you know, sharing some sort of creative gift. Is there a way that you can bring this to others or share this in a more external way? It's just something to think about, but you're being called into that energy. And yeah, we're like what came up last week was a lot of these kings in reverse. And so it doesn't have to be a forceful, like, making things happen. Like, the new way of the masculine energy is going to be a much more balanced with the feminine way. So it's still external, but it's by first embodying it within ourselves, like really honoring those things that we love, really showing up to do them daily. That's the new way of leading, is by example and by embodying it and by doing it. So I invite you into that, and then trust that the way to share it with others, or the way it's going to impact others, will naturally happen from that place, and that you're probably already doing it as well. Thank you all so much for being here. It's always like a true pleasure to have this time to reflect with you. And I just feel grateful for this sweet community, and send you all so much love and warmth from our fire. And yeah, reach out this week if you're needing some of that Six of Cups energy and you want a friend to talk to. I'm always here for you guys. Okay, lots of love. Mwah. Have a great week. I'll talk to you next Tuesday.